Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the best way to play and earn in Splinterlands even on a budget. And yes, you heard me right, play and earn, not rent out your cards, not flip cards, not use liquidity pools. For those of us that actually like the game, what's the best way to earn? So stay tuned. Hello, Kamusta, bonjour, everybody here in the Krill crew. As I am Luke, I help the small players, the ones that can't put much money into these games, play to earn. And today we're talking about Splinterlands, one of my favorite games, and how to actually play and earn. Because in Splinterlands, often we're talking about SPS value and using liquidity pools and how do you rent out your cards and how do you flip cards and all these things on how to make money in the game. And yet, I really think, as we've talked about it on the podcast, as we talked about it in the other videos, is that the best way to play and earn, you've probably heard me say before, is now through tournaments, at least until they change the rework of the modern and wild format and until they have the new economy and reward structure out. Even when they get those out though, you can still be playing tournaments and adding to all of your earnings on top of that. Now, when I've been streaming my tournaments, this has been on my main account. And so a lot of you guys have said, well, you know, that's great for you. You know, you got some card gifts, you have the SPS stake to play in a lot of the tournaments. And what about me as a krill here on the side with not much to play? So I want to talk about what am I going to do on my alt account, the one that I started with $1 and I said like, we'd get to $1,000. I'm going to edit that series and really make it a $50 start here into Splinterlands because $1, while it's possible to rent and earn rewards, it's just such a grind, such a slow going that, you know, it is so boring that I just don't think many people actually want to do that. And if you're in a country that's, maybe it's really hard to come up with $50, there are other ways. You know, you can blog about the game. We've talked about that. We've talked about Rising Star on the Hive blockchain. If you want to, you know, start playing that one's for free. And then if you want to eventually down the road, use some of those earnings of Starbits to put them into Splinterlands, you can also do that. So instead of $1, how would we actually play and earn in this game, Splinterlands, for $50? Part of the reason I wanted to do this video is to respond to this comment and others that I've seen that are like that, where it says, you know, to compete in these tournaments you're talking about, Luke, you need $5,000 worth of cards and, you know, another 5,000 staked in SPS, or at least a couple thousand play in a silver tournament and win $20, you know, and that's if you win it. And while that's some of the tournaments, yes, you're going to be gated out by SPS and all these different card decks. Even I am from some of the silver ones getting beat down by players that have more cards than me. But there is other options, and I think Weirdbeard is giving more and more options. And even outside of the Splinterlands run tournaments, there's options for us low krills. So I went through the Splinterlands tournaments and I tried to find some of the lower bronze ones and the lower noob tournaments for novice players and just calculate, okay, what would be the actual SPS cost and card cost? And for this bronze tournament, one of the no legendaries, summoners, Chaos Legion only, yeah, the SPS staking cost was only $38 to get in, so not that crazy. Yeah, it's an investment. But then, yes, the card cost was what was pretty dang expensive. I was like, okay, most krills, when I look at this, if you want a max level bronze deck to have a good chance at winning it, you're going to need $490 worth of cards. Or excuse me, you're going to need $490 and $452 of that is cards. Now, the card cost is when it gets crazy for krills. I know most people can't afford for a max level bronze deck for just Chaos Legion is still $452. However, you have the SPS staked already, you can still probably compete even if you go with one or two decks that are leveled up and you're not going to win the thing, but maybe you make a little bit SPS on the side. Then I try to think, okay, what could we cut? There's a couple epics that I'm like, oh, we probably don't need level 2. I was thinking, oh, we could, you know, rent Dr. Blight for a tournament for a couple pennies rather than paying, you know, $80 for him. And that cut out $165. So you could technically compete pretty well in the bronze tournaments for SPS of $38 and then a cut deck, and that's going to bring you to a total of $325, which, and while that $325 mark might be reasonable for some, yes, it's probably still going to gate most krills from competing at a high level in these bronze tournaments. However, then we can look at the novice tournaments, and this is much more reasonable. I think anyone, again, can afford this, even if you're not in a country that can get $50, you know, use Rising Star, use blogging, use whatever you want, and you're going to need about $20 of SPS and about $28 worth of just the epic cards, because in this noob novice tournament, you don't need to buy any of the legendaries, so you can just go to Chaos Legion and look for epics only. Now, when you go look at the Chaos Legion epics only, you can see they are much more reasonably priced. You could probably even skip over these three. I rarely ever use them and play in tournaments. Maybe on occasion, but you could skip over those. And then the most expensive cards you're going to be looking at is the Forgotten One, Grund, and the Magi. Wave Brood, things like that are over a couple bucks. So yeah, it's It's still going to be, somewhere around $25 of cards, but that is much more reasonable than trying to get a max level bronze deck for these tournaments with leveled up summoners, which is going to still be around $300. So that's my $50 plan. Go put SPS into the game, go buy up all the epic cards. It's going to run you about $50. And then once we blog, once we do other stuff, and we have our next $25, we're going to wait till the Modern League comes out. And that $25 should get us to Silver 3 power so that even ranked play will be a little bit more rewarding. Now what you're going to do is when you go to the event page of Splinterlands, make sure you go to the rules page and go specifically look for Novice League, because again, you're not going to compete at Silver. You're probably not even going to compete at Bronze with only level 1 cards, and especially none of the legendaries. Now specifically, let's talk about the Splinterlands run tournaments for now. The Noob Chaotic Kobold Mining Expedition, I think the name is going to be changing here soon, so it might be something different, but you should expect to see something around the $50 prize pool and a 5 DEC entry. Now when you look at this tournament, you can see that it starts in 4 hours, and currently there's only 75 people entered in this tournament. And the reason is because if you are on your main account or you're a player that's played for a while and you're in Silver League like I am on my main account, it is something like 400 DEC to get into this tournament. And the reason that Weirdbeard has set it up for that reason is to make sure only novice and bronze players enter in this tournament, because if you're in silver, there's so many other tournaments you can enter into, and if you spend 400 DEC just to have a shot at 10 SPS, you're better off just taking that 400 DEC and converting it to SPS and not even playing in the tournament and running the risk on losing on your DEC amount. So of course, more people could sign up in the next 4 hours, but I doubt we're going to get over 128 players. So look at this. We could throw every single match, and unless there's, another 50 people that jump into this tournament in the next 4 hours, we are guaranteed to take our 5 DEC and get it to 2 SPS. So 5 DEC at what it's worth right now, about 1/7 of a cent. Whereas the 2 SPS is right now about 13 cents each. You're going to make yourself 26 cents guaranteed as a complete noob that just put $50 into this game. And you're earning SPS, which is the governance token of this game, which if you believe in long term that it could appreciate, then yeah, while it's like, okay, 20, 25 cents now, you could look back on this in a year or 2 years and say, actually, every little small tournament I was doing was actually, now with the SPS price where it is, was earning me somewhere between $2 to $4 every time I did that. Not only that, but these tournaments run a couple times a week, and if you get better and better at them, maybe you get somewhere where you're top 16 and you're getting 6 SPS, or maybe you start winning some of them and getting 10 SPS, and then all of a sudden you're making $1 per tournament in what SPS is worth right now. Again, 2 to 3 years down the road, you can be like, oh, I was making $8 to $10 per tournament. I just didn't know it at the time. Not only that, but you can go look for other Splinterlands tournaments that aren't run by Splinterlands themselves that don't need any SPS staked. And you can also go look through other novice tournaments that don't have legendary cards. Like this one, for instance, is ran by Card Auctions. And you can go to their live stream, and apparently, I haven't tested this out, but they will double your payout if you come to the live stream. So you could put in 10 DEC. Again, there's only 40 people, so you just got to beat out, the first round or two to make the prize pool. And if you do, you can take your, 10 DEC. Even if you make like number 10, double that. With the live stream, you just made 80 DEC. That's way more than you're going to make in ranked play when you're earning like 0.2 DEC at best in bronze and ranked play. And instead, you can get better at tournaments as well, be better at the game. And when Splinterlands gets more and more competitive, you'll already have a leg up on some of the other players. Now, there are other ones you have to be a little bit careful about. Like this one is 10 SPS, and you could potentially only get 1 DEC unless you hit one of the prize pools of the Chaos Legion pack, which would be nice. But again, you're running the risk of that 10 SPS being lost. So be careful with those. Then there's other tournaments like Cloves tournaments, the spring training tournaments. There's this Chaos Legion DEC festival. I don't even know what this is, but I can click on it and see, oh, 2 DEC to enter. At this time, there's only 44 players. Maybe that grows, but at this rate, I have a pretty good shot at taking my 2 DEC to 50 or to 100 DEC. And then one day, if I keep playing, if I keep getting better at this game, maybe I'm winning that SPS, I'm staking it, and then I can maybe, 5, 10x my SPS stake. Now I'm getting into these other Splinterlands tournaments in Novice that have bigger prize pools. And, I essentially worked my way up to them through the SPS airdrop, through staking, through playing in tournaments. And we'll see how quickly on this account can I actually get to this 1200 staked SPS, or maybe even Weirdbeard changes the requirements. We don't know. Then from there, eventually, as we're playing, as we're building up our decks, we can go from Novice League to Bronze League, start looking at other tournaments, Splinterlands related, or just some other tournaments that are 1 DEC. And while we maybe only have 1 leveled up deck in Bronze or 2 leveled up decks, we'll be actually good and competitive at Novice. get a little bit of rewards, build up our deck, and then we will have the strategy that other players might not have, and even have a decent chance at winning some bronze, although there's also good players at bronze, so, that's not saying that's a guarantee, but I'm saying over time there are possibilities. There's things like the Woo Saturday Slam that if you go comment in their Discord, they will refund you your 100 DEC. So essentially a free tournament in bronze to try out. There's the YGG weekend challenges that are 1 DEC and open to everybody. And look at the rewards. You can get a live DEC and you can get Chaos Legion packs. There's even other weird wacky tournaments, just like Cloves tournament is, the better you do, sometimes the worse off you are. So actually, if you just somehow randomly finish 40th place in the tournament, you can get sometimes just as big of a prize pool in some of these tournaments, landing on weird random numbers. A lot of these tournaments do the silly things like, oh, you landed on 42 or 69. Haha, here's 1,000 DEC. And you're like, oh, well, even though I was a crap player, I just got lucky and I got a bunch of DEC that I can now go buy up cards with. So I get it. I hear all the complaints about why ranked in bronze is not fun. You're not getting good rewards. You're facing against a lot of bots. The rental system is a mess. I made a video about that a couple weeks ago saying I'm not going to really rent anymore until the Modern League comes out because it's just too painful. So rather than just sit here and complain about ranked when they've already said, yes, it's broken, we need to make some changes, until that happens, let's just go play in tournaments. Let's earn that way. Let's get better at the game. That's way better strategy and practice, which I think they're going to incentivize and reward players who are actually good at the game more and more and more. So why not get good at the game now, even if the rewards seem somewhat small? Honestly, until the modern format comes out and the rank changes come out anyways for the economy restructure and the rewards restructure, then I'm just going to bot this account on my alt account, just farm a little bit of DEC, farm a little bit of chests, not much at all, probably mostly going to be potions, and then I'm just going to play tournaments. Or maybe if you're not wanting to bot, but hey, I'm just not going to care about my ranked play, my ECR all the time. I'm going to get my quest. I'm going to use ranked play as a strategic way to get better at the game and see what works. Even if you're facing a bunch of bots, what are the bots doing to beat you? If you can figure out, hey, why did this bot win and write it down, then guess what? You could probably take that and use that in the tournament if it's the same playable cards that are used in that tournament. A lot of the bronze in bots are lower tier bots that usually use most of the starter cards. So there you go. If you're using starter cards and you're using some epics, you should be able to figure out ways to beat them or use those strategies to beat other players in tournaments. And then using some of my earnings for the tournaments or from blogging or from other games, that's where I'm going to start making this account more towards a maxed out bronze level Chaos Legion deck, which again, probably will take all year, but I could do something like, hey, at least let's go for General Sloan. A level 2 is $11. So, through rewards of playing enough in these tournaments, maybe we can get there or use some of our blog money to put it into General Sloan and let's build up a leveled up life deck. And then, okay, maybe we only have one deck, but we can do enough in bronze tournaments to earn slight a bit. We're not going to win by any means, but at least we can do something. And then we can use that to fund into our next deck, the death deck or something like that, and just continue to build over the year and really try to build up and push ourselves to the Bronze League and where we can be competitive and earn there in tournaments as well. So going back and responding to this comment one more time where they said, what human being would think this is a good investment and enter in this game? Well, for one, it doesn't have to be all about the investment. Again, if you like the game, there's nothing wrong with just saying, I like the game and the earning is a bonus. But not only that, we're talking about for these novice tournaments, $50 to get yourself started. And at the same time, you could potentially get good enough to win. And right now, yeah, it's only $1 per win. But what if, again, that was a $12 thing now in a year or two? Even if I'm spending $50 into this game and only earning $2 of current value, that's still only 25 weeks to an ROI in a $50 game where I'm having fun. Like, what's wrong with that? I don't know. It sounds great to me. I don't get it. So there you go. That's what we're going to do on our alt account now. Really help that $50 start range. And also shout out, if you want to, you can go follow Steve R82's Gold Steve episodes. He's doing this with a $150 start and is already up in his account after a couple months, even with the market being down, by blogging, by playing and doing some of these things. So go follow his as well. But hopefully now with this series, it's not just like, hey, let's put in $1, try to use the rental market and just squeak out as many earnings as we can. And instead it's, hey, let's all put $50 into this game. That's fairly reasonable. If you don't have that, let us help you find ways to get that. and then let's have fun in the game and earn at the same time. So hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how you can play and earn in this game. And you can follow along in the streams. Hopefully it works out. I'm not saying this is a guaranteed foolproof strategy, but we're going to move from $50 to maybe in a couple years have a $1,000 account just by playing and earning and having fun with it. So hopefully you follow along in that journey. You can join the Krill Crew, have discussions there in the comments below or in our Discord. For now, I'll see you later. Peace out, Palam, adios, everybody.